Come here. I need to tell you something. I need to tell you something. I need to tell you my biggest fear. Don't tell anybody. My biggest fear is that whatever project I take on, new client, new situation, even if I'm volunteering, I have a fear that I'll be found out. That maybe I'm not as smart as what people think I am. Maybe I don't have it all together. And it freaks me out. But I wanted to share it with you because I trust you. Good morning, everyone. It's Mary. And it's time for another Monday morning leadership bite. And we're talking about being vulnerable. That is actually a real fear of mine. It really is. And I think it's important for leaders to be vulnerable. That is a trait that we should all portray. And we all have that leader, people that we know that have this bravado, that they've got it all together. They got it all figured out, and no matter what happened, they knew it all along, right? That there's no doubt to whatever misgivings they might have. They don't share that. They keep themselves always emotionally in check. And that is because vulnerability, we've been taught that vulnerability is bad. It is being weak. And we're taught that we need to keep an emotional distance, especially as leaders. That we should portray confidence and competency and authority and power. But I'm here to tell you that vulnerability is actually courage. It is a courage to show up and be seen by others. It is the viewpoint of authenticity. There are 4 myths when it comes to vulnerability. Myth number 1 is that vulnerability is weakness, and it is not. It is the most measure of courage. It is uncertainty, it's risk, and it's an emotional exposure. And when a leader can dig into that, it is quite powerful. It is the opposite of weak. If anything, it's not weak at all. Myth number 2, you can opt out of being vulnerable. That you don't have to do it, and you can be successful. And maybe that's true, but some of the greatest leaders at some point in time were vulnerable. You can't opt out of it. You shouldn't opt out of it. Myth number 3, vulnerability means letting it all hang out and putting it out there on the table. But when we do that, when we have sharing without boundaries, it's seen as desperate, as attention seeking. When we share something that we're being vulnerable about, there should be a goal. It should help solve a problem. It should make a connection with someone. And myth number 4, that you can go it alone. You don't need anyone else's help. And that's not true either. We've talked about this in other leadership bites, where the most important thing you can do is to have a comrade, to have a friendship, to have a connection, to have people you can talk to. That you can say, hey, I need help. What are your thoughts on the issue? Do you mind working together with this? Because I'm not 100% sure I can take it across the goal line. That's what great leaders do. Human connection. Just even a sense of asking someone how their day is and actually stopping for 2 minutes of your day and finding out. This human connection is drastically missing from the workplace today. It is missing from our volunteer organizations. It's even missing in some cases in our churches. Vulnerability and authenticity is at the root of human connection. If you want to meet someone where they are, be vulnerable. When you have a posture of vulnerability, when you have a posture of being authentic, it shows you that you're human. It shows others that you're not perfect, that you have flaws. And when you do that, it actually brings you closer to people. It doesn't pull you away. We have this fear that if we share something about ourselves, if we show this weakness, people won't be around us. It's quite the opposite. By sharing something like what I just did, then I'm afraid that someone's going to find me out one day. People will say, no, that's not true. And it brings them closer. they share a story with me. And then we realize that we're both flawed and we can help each other out. So that creates trust, it creates loyalty. When we can do it with purpose, when we can do it with a sense of conviction. Vulnerability is a strength. Every leader is vulnerable in one way or the other, but the greatest leaders are self-aware of this fact. They use it, they share it, they make their connections with the people they're leading. So I have one challenge for you today. This week, I want you to find someone that you trust, someone that you like, someone that you wouldn't mind sharing something about yourself, something that you really don't want exposed. Just share it with one person. Let them know that there's something about you that you have a fear over, and see how it goes. And when you do that, come back, leave me a comment. I'd be happy to hear about how that went. So that's it for this week's Monday Morning Leadership Bite. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and share, and be vulnerable.